I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Thursday, March the 16th, brought to you in part by Vitalix. Vitalix is the most concentrated feed at the lowest cost per head per day. Now at MFA locations if you're in Missouri, Wildcat Feeds in northern Kansas, and Ag Choice locations in southeast Kansas. Get the blue tub, go to Vitalix.com. Basis jumpers. You've heard me talk about basis jumpers before, and the fact of the matter is it's just the nature of the beast. Everybody's hedged now. Your lenders make you do it even if you don't want to, but everybody's hedged up feeding cattle, and when you're hedged up, all of a sudden you're no longer worried about what the market is. It's just all about the basis. So when you get into a situation we're in right now where our spot live cattle futures are sitting below the cash market, if you hedged, you're betting on the market to go down. So whatever that cash spot futures market is below what your cash selling price is, that difference in there is your basis, and that's money for you to keep. You know what your break even is whenever you hedge those cattle. So I mean, you might be making money there, but that basis is just as good as a higher market to you. And so it's really the only thing that matters. It's all about that basis. And everybody looks at it and keeps track on it. I'm in a group text that we send information back and forth around with several people. And we do that when fat cattle are trading, or if we hear of trades or bids or whatever. And my friend Lee Richmond is in that. He's a Nebraska feeder there, and he made a statement on Wednesday morning that I thought was pretty intriguing and kind of shed light on the situation is right now. He said, "I swear the market could be $0 a hundred. Fat cattle could be free, zero price per hundred, and if the basis was +5, your sellers would be more than happy to take it." And that's basically what it is. If you had your basis, you had your break even figured in, and you knew what the cattle were going to bring, and then you get a basis on top, they're just tickled to death to take it. And you think, well, don't they know that it kills your market position? They don't really care. It's kind of like me when one of my daughters comes to me and says she didn't do well on a test, and she says, but everybody else failed it too. I'm not worried about everybody else. I'm only worried about her. And your cattle feeders are not worried about everybody else's break even or everybody else's bottom line. They're only worried about theirs. It's like the movie Bug's Life, which it's animated. A lot of you haven't watched it, but if you had kids, you probably saw it with them. It's basically about the bugs, the ants especially, saying, there's more of us than there are of them, and if we just group together, we could dictate how this thing goes. That's the way your cattle feeding business is too. There's more cattle feeders than they are packers, but the packers, it's so easy for 4 of them basically to get their heads together, and they just rule everything. If your feeders could get together, they could do it too, but there's not very many negotiated sellers anymore. Everybody's on a sweetheart deal. They've got their formula, so they're just waiting on the few negotiated sellers there is to establish market for them to sell on a formula off of. But even the small number of negotiated sellers can't get together because they're only worried about their situation and their feedlot, their cattle, their pocketbook, and that's why we can't get anything together. But we sold fat cattle. What I'm trying to get at is we've sold fat cattle. We've already established the market, and it's lower. We've killed this drive we've had, this rally we've had for the last 6 weeks or so, gaining $10 or so. We've lost it now, and I don't know what it's going to take to get us to going back up again, but this board's got to recover. And it's not just that the board's lower, it's once that cash spot month gets lower than what cash is, then everybody just jumps on the basis. So let's look at your board on Wednesday. April live cattle futures were down $1.50. That was the limit at one time, not that long ago, all it could go. But down $1.50 for April live cattle, 161.55, and you think, well, damn, The market was 165, 166 last week. Yes, it was, but it's not going to be whenever you've got a basis like that, because they can sell them at 164, put that $2.5, $3 in their pocket, and it's better than what they could have got if they would have held out and tried to get more market position. It kills our market every time. June live cattle down $1.17, 156.57. Your back months were down 80 cents to down $1.50. It's just everybody's getting scared. We've had these bank failures. Now we've got Signature Bank has failed. We've got their eye on some more. And the way those banks failures come is everything's fine in your banking industry until people get scared. Once they get scared, they fear that you may not have the money available there to pull your money out, pull your investments out. Then people get scared. Then they all pull it out. Then you got a failed bank. March feeder cattle down 172 at 188.20. April down 250. Ouch. At 193 and a quarter. Your back months are all down big too. Down $1.80 to down 250. And corn was higher, so that's what added to your feeder cattle being lower. Now we're at May corn for the spot month, up 5 3/4 cents at 626.5. December new crop down 2 1/4 cents a bushel at 557. May beans up 5 3/4 cents at 626.5. Your fat cattle trade, and like I say, it's established now. We're pretty much done trading. We're just going to see how much volume we get at these levels. But Iowa sold 3,700 head confirmed on Wednesday. When's the last time we've seen the market establish itself this early in the week? Well, it happens on a down market. But 8,000 head so far for the week in Iowa, and I'm sure they sold a lot more than 3,700. That was by the 2 o'clock cutoff that you have. Packers have to turn that into the USDA, and I'm sure there was a lot more trade than that. But check out this live price spread in Iowa, 161.5 to 164. My goodness, we were up to 167 last week on the top end, and most all the trades at 165 and 166, but we're lower now. Your dress sales from 263 to 264, they were all 265 last week. It's lower. Nebraska, 16,100 head. That's confirmed sales on Wednesday morning and early afternoon. Just short of 18,000 for the week. 163 to 164.5 was the price, but mostly all at 164. And dress sales from 260 to 264.5. Kansas sold 2,400 head. When did you see the Southern Plains sell the last time this early in the week? Only 8,300 head for the week so far, but 162 to mostly 164. That's straight up buck lower in Kansas. Texas, 1,900 head confirmed on Wednesday, 4,600 head for the week, 163 to mostly 164. Sioux Falls Regional Livestock in Worthing, South Dakota, had a fat cattle auction with a pretty good amount there. They had like 13 or 14 pot loads in the mix among the other small deals. But 161 to 169 and a quarter was conventional cattle. It was steady to a buck higher. You had your smaller regional type packers pushing against each other, looking for clean cattle, looking for well-finished cattle, pushed the market a little bit higher. Program cattle up to 173 at Sioux Falls Regional Livestock. Box beef cutout values were lower. Choice cuts were down 164 at 284.27. Selects down 193 at 272.63. Your slaughter about the same as last week, 378,000 through the first 3 days of the week, steady with last week, 8,000 more than the same week a year ago. Talk about what else is going on. Livestock risk services. And I think I misspoke on my last feeder flash. A lot of you guys probably caught it. I appreciate you not razzing me about it too much. If you're turning cattle out or you're backgrounding cattle, either backgrounding them in a lot or backgrounding lighter weight cattle out on grass this summer, you've got to get an LRP. These prices are too high. These strike prices out front are too high not to let them get away. You can't let them get away. You don't really want to just take a short position on your futures market, because that feeder cattle futures is so volatile and they can move so much in one day there. You don't want to do it. Now, loosely, you're going to be connected with your feeder cattle if you take an LRP, but it settles on your cash index prices. So you're already going to be kind of to the good whenever you take that out, because it's the futures strike price is set off your feeder board, but then it settles on your cash index, which already puts you probably $2 to $5 to the good already. Plus, you get that incentive from the government there to help pay for that. Dakota Moss at Livestock Risk Services understands all this. His agents that work with him there that you see listed, they also do too, located there at the Oklahoma National Stockyards Exchange Building. Give them a try there at livestockriskservices.com. Talk about our feeder cattle market, your real-time index on DV auction. On Wednesday afternoon, set at 190.42, lost another 39 cents. So it's been lower here for 3 sessions since the end of last week, and just backing up just a little bit, and mostly backing up in your sale barns that rely on corporate type feeders as their main buying base there. Your big high volume sales like Oklahoma Stockyards, Oklahoma OKC West, even Joplin, a lot of your big markets there. I mean, they're relying on corporate type bids to hold the market up because they've got so much volume there. Some of your smaller regional type sales, and then when you get in the northern plains and you get farmer feeders, they're just continuing to get higher because supplies are short. They don't rely so much on the board. But we've been having fun with the Punchy Pick of the Month contest. We're getting picks in all the time, looking at those. You guys get a punchy pick, not anything that's staged or set, but if you just get a punchy pick during your daily activities, you can send them to us at punchy@nationalbeefwire.com. At the end of the month, we'll announce the winner, and the winner gets a big prize package, including a case of Fairpiece, that topical product that calms the cattle down, some cool swag from Beaver Feed in Beaver, Oklahoma, and also some neat stuff from Beaver County Stockyards. Let's talk about your big sales on Wednesday. OKC West, El Reno, Oklahoma, 6,900 head for the 2-day sale with calves on Tuesday, yearlings on Wednesday. Feeder steers were $1 to $3 lower. Feeder heifers were steady to $3 lower. Calves were fully steady. Winter Livestock in Dodge City, Kansas, 3,600 head for them. Feeder steers over 800 pounds were steady to $2 lower. 6 to 800 pound feeder steers, $3 to $5 higher. That would include some stalker types in there, which pushes the market on those. Feeder heifers steady to $2 lower. Calves, $5 to $10 higher. Spots, 15 to 20 on some old croppers with some condition there to turn out, guys. Your Zoetta stick out sale of the day for Wednesday was Torrington Livestock Markets in Torrington, Wyoming. 3,500 head for them. Really impressive sale, and had some top quotes there. But even as a whole, look at this market. Look at this automated market report through Cattle Market Central. You see 640 head in your 6-weight steer calf category. They average 646 with a weighted average price of $228.79. 501 head of 7-weight steers average 728 at $205.07. Look at the heifers. We're not keeping heifers back. I don't know which analysts think that we are short of numbers because we're keeping heifers back. We are not keeping heifers back yet, guys. There's more heifers being sold than there are steers. Heifers in Torrington, Wyoming, 426 head of 5-weight heifers, average 569, weighted average price $220.19. 325 head of 6-weight heifers, average 645 with a weighted average price of $201.04. And 468 head of 7-weight heifers, average 760 pounds at $176.53 on your weighted average. Now, a few replacement heifers are being sold, but they're in small groups and just spots where they've been sorted up just for the bidders that are interested in them. Parsons Livestock Auction in Parsons, Kansas had a package of red Angus heifers sorted up just for replacements. Come from Jared Lamb in Veneta, Oklahoma. 34 head of replacement quality red Angus heifers weigh 809 at 181. I'll talk about some individual quotes. I picked a couple from markets that are out east, bluegrass stockyards markets. So you get to thinking the calves and stockers are really high in the center part of the country, and you think, I'm going to go out east and order some. Well, they ain't cheap out there either, guys. Bluegrass stockyards east, the east market in Kentucky at Mount Sterling sells 55 head of steer calves, weighed 533 at $231.75. Put a bunch of wheels under them. But the most impressive quote that I saw, for where it's at, how it happened, your Mackerson, no BS, top quote for the day, come out of Bluegrass Stockyards, and that's in Albany, Kentucky. 83 head of steers, weighed 684 at $216.75. That's your feeder flash for Thursday.